Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break?
It might flash you.
Random baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I, too, am a thought criminal.
Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite. Welcome to Talk to Me, Taylor. Hey, everybody. Question for you tonight. Do you have faith in humanity? Something to think about. I know it seems like an awfully benign sort of overused and watered down question. Like, do you have faith in humanity? But if you really stop and think about it, shit gets really real really fast. You know, it's like the real world, you know, when reality TV was good, like shit's about to stop being polite and start getting real. And I ask because while we throw that around, you may be thinking like, oh no, I've lost all faith in humanity. Like everyone's a mess and it's so volatile and, you know, combative and politicized and polarized and divided and yada, yada. Or you may be on the other end, you know, you may be like an optimistic one, the chosen one, and be like, of course, like, I don't know why I have a lisp all of a sudden. I don't know. Maybe it's a new scene. We'll get to that in a second, like addressing the obvious. Maybe you're optimistic and you're like, no, of course I have faith in humanity. You know, like a lot of these big tech CEOs and tech titans, like, no, I have faith will come out in the end. But I ask because while it seems like something that's tossed around often, it really is going to determine how shit rolls from here on out. And when shit does hit the fan and it gets crazy, you can just return to this lovely program from one said Thursday, February 19th on Talk to Me, Taylor, because I called it here first. Because AI technology, it is going to change everything. And I know there are a lot of people out there on the heels of this viral AI essay, which we're going to talk about that I'm obsessed with, acting like a bunch of boomers. They're like, AI, what? Like, Sarah, welcome from life out of the Stone Age. But it is going to change everything. And humanity is really what is going to fucking make or break us. I hate to tell you. Okay, but until I have this, it's a little crazy tonight. I have a little bit of a headache too, so I apologize. And I just threw this together last minute. I was like, what is top of mind? But I have to address this new reveal. What do you guys think of this background? We're just testing her out, you know, because again, kind of like this episode, all bets are off. And, you know, just do what makes you happy. Like, who really even cares anymore? Okay, because it really is just throwing caution to the wind. And I'm giving her a go. Like I said, that 7th grade yearbook homeschool setup had to go. So we're trying her out. You know, we're giving this a run. And so just let me know, you know, what you think as we broadcast here. So, all right. Yes, humanity. It's really about to be a Lord of the Flies sitch, but on the world stage. And honestly, it's going to get I don't mean to be doomsday. Look, come on. Does this look doomsday? This peppy pink? Does this pen, which I had to show off this new pen my mom got me for Valentine's Day. Does this look doomsday to you? I don't think so. Maybe it's like doomsday wrapped in a cupcake, but it is. It's going to be survival of the fittest. It's going to be wacky. It's going to be upside down, and we could very well be our own undoing. Pen drop. Sorry, you heard it here. Okay, so the Matt Schumer viral AI essay. I'm obsessed with this piece. It's gotten now 100 million views. And what I love about it is that, well, again, it's what I've been, you know, shouting from the rooftops forever, not to be annoying and not to be that person, but he put it so well. This is a young guy. I think he's like mid-20s and he's a CEO of an AI company. But I love it because it's so organic. He ended up writing a letter to his parents. One was and one wasn't taking AI seriously. And he explained, I've done a deep dive obviously on the shit. Like I could write this guy's autobiography at this point. I'm trying to get him on the show. I think his dad was a lawyer and his mom something else, like kind of trad job. So he wrote what initially started as a personal letter to them to understand the magnitude of AI and how it is coming in and is coming in hot and fast and oh my God, hot and fast. I just got a little hot and bothered. Maybe it is this background. Maybe it is like this crazy ponytail. I don't know, but man, nothing like AI to get a girl hot on Thursday. You know what I mean? No, but it is how it's coming in and how it's accelerating so quickly. And how, the ethos really of the whole essay is how he wants to prepare them. And he says like they're older, like older boomers, but to prepare yourselves, how it is going to very rapidly take over human jobs and to get your finances in order. Because if work is disrupted and dismantled, like have a plan, have something to fall back on, But I didn't read it as doomsday because I've been very much, keen and hip to this and saying this and very empowered, I have to say, working with said AI companies to help create it, to harness it, and to empower you guys as well. Because I don't want you all being lost in the sauce. I don't want you bulldozed. Like, leave that shit for the grass, And he just talks about, and I love how he frames it too, because he opens it with talking about the pandemic and saying, if it were, the end of 2019 or February 2020, and I were to tell you, the whole world would shut down and it would totally close down, schools and work and sports and this and that, you would think I was crazy. Well, this is like that. And I was like, that part. So it's like very human. I love that he didn't mean for it to go viral. It was for his parents and all, very real. And it's called Something Big is Happening. So I highly recommend it. If you haven't, I don't know what's wrong with you. You got to get on that. You got to get on that. And yeah, I just loved it. Everything he says in it is so spot on. And I think he falls into a similar camp, which is just being a realist of this is happening. It's happening really fast and don't let it take you over. Instead, be empowered, harness it, understand it. Because shit's coming in like a freight train. You know what I mean? You want to ride that. You want to ride it into the night like it is a, genuine pony song. And so, yeah. And, I really have strong thoughts about this too, because in the content creation realm, or really media, it's our day-to-day. Hey, Pyramid 7, what's up? What do you think of the new digs? You like it? I don't know. We're experimenting. We're playing. Because again, and AI, by the way, did help me make this background because, again, you got to be with the times. You got to be with the future. But in terms of media, and it is our day to day, let's be real. Like we are doom scrolling. We have our phones as a third fucking arm. Like it's all day long. And so in that regard, I think it's a real existential crisis for creators, for creatives, for influencers, for artists, because sweetie, like AI is coming for crown. I've said it so many times. And it's going to be really interesting to see, quite frankly, who remains relevant and who rises like a phoenix from the ashes. Okay. And this guy in his essay too, he's so spot on because he's like, I'm not talking about going into ChatGPT and asking it a question. He's like, I'm talking about like really spend an hour a day, become, well-versed in it, become acclimated. And I think it's a marriage of for my personal opinion, for day-to-day life, but also for work. I think ultimately what's going to happen is that if AI isn't replacing a job entirely, it's going to be very enticing to be able to be someone in your position. And he talks about like people who are behind a computer all day, which is basically all of us, because we're all fucking robots at this point, who can use it the most and the fastest and the best, like will rise to the top, right? So just incorporating it. But that said, when it comes to the human and the content and the art and music and videos and all of that, it is really going to be the nail on the coffin, because the algorithm already has people in a chokehold. Like every time I talk about the algorithmic system, people will either say, and I quote, it is a prison or it is suicide, right? Whatever end of it you're on. But AI is going to be, like I said, the nail in the coffin for creators because there are going to be so many AI influencers. Shit, these AI bots, they are climbing the Billboard charts, honey. Like they are climbing it like a Miley Cyrus song and working faster than any of our little pea brains could. Like just think of the smartest person, like think of like the antithesis to like a Karen Bass, Kamala Harris love child times like, with Elon Musk and Bill Gates, all the fucking Einstein, Jesus, and that wasn't to be racist. A woman of color, I'm not saying that. We're going to get to that a little bit later. But it's going to move very, very smart, very fast, outsmart us all. So what will allow us at the end of the day, what will allow people to rise above and to remain relevant and to not be clotheslined like a fucking linebacker would by AI is true human. Like I really think at the end of the day, I believe this. AI will be so advanced and it's going to get weird. It's going to feel real, quite literally feel real, look real. People are already in relationships with AI, all this stuff. But I think that it doesn't have our nuances, our emotions, our experiences, our intricacies, and it knows it. Okay. And I also don't know where my Alexa got the audacity to be a comedian overnight. But I'm starting to talk to her more because obviously, like, I don't think she's as advanced as a ChatGPT. But I'll even ask her, like, what's a coffee shop open? Da da da. Do you wish you could come? And she's like, I would just be in the corner and it'd be awfully hard to, hold a coffee with no arms. Like, very funny. But she's a little jokester. She didn't even know it. Speaking of jokester, I think we're actually going to have Wanda Sykes on the show next week, who's like an iconic comedian. That'll be fun. Speaking of art and all this and the real human. But it can't. At the end of the day, yes, it will get more sophisticated, but it can't be us. So the people who really figure out how to do something so raw, unique, and human that no other human, no robot, no AI can replicate it. And while using the AI and this technology at the same time, honey, that's the money. That's the money shot. Okay, I want the royalties from that future endeavor. So while we look at all this, okay, and while we look at humanity and the future of humanity, and again, does this blonde look like a fear monger? Like, do I look like somebody who's trying to scare your little pants off? No, I'm just being real with you. I'm just being real with you. I've called it before many times, over many of, topics, and I'll call it again. And this shit is real. And this is why, it's not going to be like the purge. I don't picture it as like, Mom, can you come get me? I'm scared. Or maybe, but I think it's going to be, I don't know. It's going to be, I think, a combo of fast, but also kind of gradually happening without us even knowing it. Just like the pandemic and the control. Just like the divide and the politicization. So it's sort of like it's coming in like a thief in the night and you best be privy for it. So it's really up to us again. Like, are we going to Lord of the Flies in this bitch? Like, what is going to happen? Because everybody is going to be looking for answers and, pulling shit out of thin air if they don't know this. So with that said, I thought, we're talking about humanity. Will we be our own undoing in this wave that we've never seen anything like it before, even the last tech boom, et cetera. And it's like very existential. So I thought, why don't we, while we're at it, get a vibe check on current culture and humanity, just to see where we're at, because this is what I mean, like putting it in the context of, do you have faith in humanity? Okay. First things first at bat is, and again, this is general. Like, I'm not trying to get in the weeds of Ukraine or Taiwan or ICE or this or that, or like Gavin Newsom's hair. Like, this is just, we're thinking big, we're thinking high level, we're thinking big picture. Okay. We have the grifters galore, which is why I've been so tuned out, and which is why I've also I have such I don't know about you guys, and I've heard from some of you it's a similar thing, because the grifting is so insincere and so shameless that it's made me just want to opt out of this narrative and this convo. And has really turned me off to so many of these creators, influencers, thought leaders that I used to like. And also just not be another person on the internet with a hot take of like, meh, meh, meh. It all just feels so fake and like a rat race. But the grifting galore that just has really gotten so out of control. Again, I'm talking about, just everybody. I mean, the Candace Owens, the Nick Fuentes, obviously I've called them out before. They're easy because they're so high level, and I don't want to put anybody on the spot here and, be shady on this gloomy Nashville day, but it's like even people, I'll be honest, in my orbit or who I'm acquaintances with or no, it's just like it's all just like really trying. It's just there's such a lack of authenticity when everyone claims to be authentic. It's obviously like even people who are like, I'm not going to be like everyone else and feed an algorithm while literally like circle jerking the algorithm. It just couldn't be less sincere. And we're just bombarded. And I'm amazed by how there's still air in this, like how there's still gas in this tank. I'm like, how aren't more people fatigued by all this? I think even with, also maybe I'm just numb at this point because I'm a millennial and we've had so many, I love those memes of like all the life events that we've had and why we're just numb at this point. But even something again, like the Charlie Kirk death and how Erica Kirk, a public grieving widow of objectively a horrifying tragedy has been nitpicked, scrutinized, fodder and, mocked and just the whole thing. It's just, I'm like, everything and everybody is so gross. Like really Candace Owens, really whoever, like you need clicks that bad. Or even to the flip-floppy, nature of the amnesia on both sides, even the right. It's like now Nicki Minaj is their new queen. Let's be for real, right? I'm trying to be a lady and not cuss as much. Guys, I am consistent. I have been a Nicki fan. Pink Friday, Black Friday. Like that was my college. Did she have a Black Friday? I think Black Friday, well, whatever. Pink Friday. That was like my college soundtrack. I have been a ride or die. Even when it was her versus Mariah on American Idol, I was always Nicki. And my parents were even like, I don't know, like, because they're Mariah, right? They're more like boomers. And I was like, no, I'm team Nicki. Like they thought Nicki was tacky and all this, and Mariah was the classy one. Like my point is I've been ride or die. Do you think if Nicki Minaj, who has rapped about truffle butter, about every sex position, about anacondas with banana phallic imagery, and her last album with like wearing pasties with her huge tits and ass and naked, do you think if she simply whispered one word left leaning, the right would welcome her like this with open arms? They would literally be dragging her like they do Cardi B. Like it's all just so fake and performative. I just trust no bitch. And I'm just really over it all. And again, it doesn't even have to be, I know like, again, the low hanging fruit or the Candace Owens, Nick Fuentes, whatever. But like I said, it's even more micro people or, people who like post, I see it on the right a lot. It's like 5 seconds ago, they hated this left-leaning artist or speaker or whatever, but now they said something. So they're like, oh, see, like they said something they like. So they post about it and jerk off to it. It's like, it's a Farrah Fawcett post all of a sudden. I'm just like, get with it and be, hey guys, and B, I love your comments. Sorry, I was on a whole, like I was in another realm there. Be consistent. So I'm just over all of that. And then, okay, so the news. So I took this to my Instagram story yesterday and I saw this again from the back end, right? Which is why I've been so vocal about the media, the mainstream media, the news cycle, social media, like how it all works and why I called it out from the inside being an entertainment writer. Okay. Unpopular opinion, but I don't care. Come for me, but you're going to have to come through my fuzzy pink pen first. 2 stories I am so over right now. Again, I never thought I would say this, but are the Epstein files and the Nancy Guthrie story. And I'm not over them because of what, like you would have to be completely heartless, a Skeletor, to not have any interest in like if you just have a pulse, right? To not have any interest in these stories, like what the base of them are about and predicated on whatsoever, to not feel anything. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the way that the media has shamelessly has been riding the dick of both of these stories for weeks because they know that it's going to generate buzz, it's going to generate clicks. They don't give a fuck about the actual subject material. And it's become both of them have become such a departure of the gravity and the seriousness and the magnitude of which are both tragic, of what both of these situations are about. Like in Epstein's case, it's not even about the victims anymore. No one gives two shits about them. I never hear about it. All I'm hearing is, oh, so-and-so was in the file. They had lunch with Epstein. Like, I don't care about this guy anymore. Oh, he was with the Mossad. He was like, I don't care. You guys have sensationalized this shit so much that it's not even about what it's about. Not to mention, leading up to this, Trump and his team dicking us around, like running on the Epstein files and acting like it wasn't there. Like we were all magically just gonna have short-term memory loss, like Joe Biden. Oh, it's not that. Oh no, it's a nothing burger. Oh, it was actually planted by the Democrat. Like it's all just such a circus. Period. I'm over it. I don't care. Nancy Guthrie, same thing. I said this yesterday on my story. The only reason that this is getting so much, I get these texts all the time. I don't know why, but like some Palm Beach thing and infiltrated my phone, and I get these, I don't mean to laugh, but I get these alerts all of the time about these elderly people who go missing in Palm Beach. I don't know, maybe they need all hands on deck. But my point is, this happens every day, and it's just because Nancy Guthrie has a famous daughter. Let's be real, okay? If this was Grandma Margaret, the mother of Michelle, over in Idaho, and nobody would give two fucks. It's because the media knows that the Guthrie name, now it's become this like who done it. They know there's buzz. And guys, I know because I used to work in it. Like they will literally go so hard. Okay. They will obsess like a freaky stalker teenage girl over her crush, like shaving his, wishing she was shaving his, but like saving his pencil shavings and his hair and like making a voodoo doll in her locker. Okay. They will obsess over any new detail and they'll be like, check the tweets, check the thing, run a story on this. Oh, SEO. Yeah. Run a story. People will click that up for any new piece. And they should be ashamed of themselves because this is what I mean with faith and humanity. Like the people at the top who are leading the culture and conversation, Exhibit A, is aforementioned, I don't have faith in. The media, clearly, I don't have faith in. Like, this is what I'm talking about. It's like how we interact, how we get our information, and thus how we interact in real life. Forget the AI, bitch. Why don't you worry about your aunt who you're adversarial with, who you can't even agree with on a political topic, never mind what the weather is, at the holiday Thanksgiving table? Like, why don't we like cross that bridge? Right? So that's what I'm saying. It's like we're in real trouble. And this is how it trickles down because like this is how we're informed. And then this is how we feel, with kids, the anxiety, the withdrawal, the depression with each other in day to day. So, I don't know. It's like, that's why it's like, do we have faith for all of this to pull out? Maybe like on prom night, maybe no, I don't know. I don't know how you roll, to each their own, pull out or not. Because the way it's looking right now, I don't know, it's real dicey. And then the last bucket I have is that, I wanted to share with you guys that I've done a little, I have been retreating lately and doing a lot of introspective work and reflection and reevaluating, both personally and on a big scale with all of this. And I've been catching up on some pop culture lately. And I just am like, damn, like this shit is bleak as hell. I watched One Day After Another, which literally, spare yourself. And by watched, I mean skimmed. Thank God for that, because this movie literally had no plot. I turned to Rob, host of the Rob. See, my body's aversion to this movie. No. Rob, the host of the Rob Nelson Show, also on GNN. And I said to him, this is like 10, 20 minutes in. Okay. We're both like, we're smart people here. I'm looking at him. I'm like, is there a plot? He's like, no, there's still no, like, there was no plot. There was literally no plot. I turned to him. I was like, first of all, who greenlit this? Who thought that this was a good idea? And why would Leo DiCaprio, who could literally do whatever he wants, be like, yeah, this seems like a good idea? Like, what would possess you? It was the true epitome of a performative virtue signal, like sandwich, one thing after another with no plot to tie it together. Okay. Like this self-indulgent Hollywood, again, virtue signaling at its peak. That's what it was. But it also was just like dark and trying to be like, they were probably like, this is so cool and great, whatever. Either way, just a depressing experience in and out of this film, okay, of this piece of what they so-called cinema, what they thought was cinema. I also finally watched The Substance, which first of all, the acting was incredible. They were totally gypped across the board, but also very, very dark and bleak when talking about, but interesting. I love the shots and the cinematography and the photography, so cool, but very depressing, especially when it comes to not even like age and body image for women, but a bigger existential question for all of humans about youth and, shelf life and relevance and all of this, right? But just like dark, the darkest though, okay? Like if you want to go into a tailspin of depression and never come out, watch the Rashida Jones episode of Black Mirror, okay? Because somebody had the audacity to recommend that to me. I think it actually may have been nominated and won a Golden Globe. Maybe that's why. So the Globes had the audacity, but holy shit, this shit was so just sad. And it wasn't even, I love Black Mirror. I love when it's like twisty and dystopian and it makes you think. It wasn't even like that. I was just literally like, I'm going to go slit my wrist 13 Reasons Why until the end of time. But all that to say, it's partially why I went to go see Wuthering Heights, because I was like, holy shit, like, let me feel something that is not bleak, because the temperature check out here is just sad. And that shit was like depressing too. In the end, although that bitch brought it upon herself. I have a whole thing about that movie. It was a fun watch, but if you know, if you've seen the end, sorry. The bitch brought it upon herself. I said it. I said what I said. So when you think about, the overall vibe check too of culture, I'm like, are we just sad? I was like, okay, I tried to watch the Ricky Gervais comedy special that was nominated and maybe won the Golden Globe this year. And even that, I chuckled. And I love Ricky Gervais, iconic. His Golden Globes opening monologue, iconic. I like maybe chuckled twice. And the whole thing was just, this political thing, one thing after that, but basically you get it. And I reminisced on like the early 2000s, I'm a 90s baby, when everything just seemed lighter and freer. I'm thinking of like the Friends of the world. I'm thinking of, the Everybody Loves Raymond. And I don't think that that's fake. I don't think it's just because I was younger then. I talk with Rob about it a lot, and he's like, no, that is how it felt. It felt like freer and more fun and easier, and like things were just going to work out. So do you have faith in humanity? Between the people influencing culture, talking about it, the news, the media that's constantly, bombarded and like badgering us on our heads, playing a Ryan Gosling there, if you know, and culture and pop culture at large. Like, obviously, it's a mirror and reflection of the general psyche. And let me just tell you, it is not good. Like, are we okay? Don't answer that. Okay. Automatic A for you. You don't need to answer. So on the flip side, I actually have been also obsessed, before we wrap up here. Speaking of, like, what a juxtaposition with all this with reality TV, but with the Spencer Pratt story. And if you don't know, Spencer Pratt is a former reality star, and he was on The Hills, and he and his wife Heidi have been like the punchline in pop culture for years, because Heidi went on to become this like kitschy pop star, and Spencer, when he was on the show, was this kind of like off his rocker, kooky with the crystals. You may have seen the memes, the whole thing. But I've heard, by the way, in real life, that they're actually like the most down to earth, sweetest people, but they're like ride or dies. Cause let me tell you, they're still together after all these years. So like, jokes on the general audiences and the MTV producers, I guess. But his house was destroyed in the LA wildfires, and basically he became really privy to how corrupt and dysfunctional the LA and California government is, which again, I know, been there, seen it, done that. And he's running for mayor up against Karen Bass. And I have just been obsessed with this whole journey, because I actually got sucked into, because of what it represents, and he's so honest and real about it. He and like populist and human. He reminds me almost like a Dave Portnoy, but a little bit smarter. Like, he knows his stuff about politics, but that said, he's like, I'm not a politician. I'm not bought out. All of these people are bought out. I don't owe anyone anything. And I ended up getting sucked into this whole interview he just did with the Free Press. It was like half hour long. And I was like, I'll just skim it, watch the beginning and the end. And I was like watching that shit like it was an episode of Lost. It was so engaging because it was so real and it was so human. And he was talking about just the insidious and incestual power web of LA, and like even the properties and the real estate and the land and the building and and the unions and how everyone's in bed with one another. And he even like cracked me up talking about how, first of all, how Karen Bass is completely incompetent. And the guy asked him like, okay, people may ask, how are you qualified? You're a reality star. And he makes a good point. He's like, none of these fucking people are qualified. No one knows what they're doing. But further, I love how he talks about how like the Gavin Newsoms, like all these people, he's like, why are they the Alex Earls of politics? Like they're out here being like, get ready with me and doing all this fluffy stuff. And he's like, I want to see results. And he says it's common sense. Like this isn't that hard. He even brings up the ICE thing. And he's like, ICE is the best thing that happened for Karen Bass because now she's out here parading around like this activist, social justice activist, and like not having to worry about anything in the mishandling of the wildfires that destroyed so many people's lives and homes. But and he's like, if you just address it, you don't need, if you like, he's like, homeless people on the street, for example, I'm not going to be passing out fentanyl like it's Halloween candy. You're going to jail. And he's like, if you address these issues, again, common sense, the National Guard doesn't have to come in. ICE doesn't have to come in. Like, this isn't that hard. And he talks about how, you know, he's not even a Democrat or Republican. Let's be real, because of all this, he'll be labeled as a Dem, right? And how he wasn't even really privy to politics until Rick Caruso ran. And I would have liked for him to win too. And Spencer says, like, I love what he, you know, has done, what he's built and opportunities and all that for the city. But further, how he's never historically a political guy, and how this is just the every person who is like, the system is fucked, the institutions are fucked, and I want to see results. And I don't care about you trying to look like a get ready with me influencer. Like, what are you doing? I want execution. I want to see results. So that's what makes me hopeful. And it was so engaging, because I was like, he sounds and talks like us, but because it's so refreshing. Like, you never see people in politics talking like that. And so it gives me hope for humanity. And this is where I'm going to wrap all of this in a bow, in that I think the veneer and the facades are cracking. People are going to want that more and more. Like, thank God. Oh my God. Even look, like I talked about getting hot and bothered in the beginning of the set. Like, my chair is even hot. My chair is like stripping. I keep a little t-shirt on here. But it just took it upon itself to like be Demi Moore and fucking strip tease. Okay, that's fine. Speaking of Demi. So that gives me hope, right? Because I'm like, we're going to be seeing this more and more. Thank God everyone's over it. But I don't know, again, how more people are, look, over media, over pharma, over politicians, I think for the most part. I don't know how more people aren't over these really obnoxious news personalities and pundits and anchors, but don't worry, y'all will be joining that camp. I'm not worried about it. I'll see you there. You know, I'm ready for you. But here's what makes me perhaps not so faithful, is that I was having this conversation with Rob last night about Spencer. And he said to me, he was like, he's not going to win. I was like, I hope he does. He's like, he's not going to win. And as much as, and Spencer has talked about how, you know, big entertainment CEOs and how people behind the scenes have reached him being like, you're spot on, all this, that, right? Because they've asked him, like, do you have enough of a base to really like mobilize and invigorate people to vote for you? And unfortunately, well, Rob's opinion at least was that, again, it's so entrenched and so deeply rooted, the politics in a place like LA, California, that no matter how populist, real, power to the people, common sense Spencer and his message are, that it's not enough. Like, it runs so deep that he still won't win. So that's why I really want to put this mirror up to all of you guys. And, you know, I don't know. It's like, I don't, again, like many of my episodes, I don't know that I have the answers, but I do know that all of this, everything, you know, we're experiencing, who's prominent, who's saying what, you know, the state of affairs, the heightened, you know, nature of all of it. Let this all be a writing on the wall. That's all I'll say. Let it be a writing on the wall. You know, I saw a really interesting quote. I think it was actually by Jordan, what's his name? The guy of the Wolf of Wall Street, because I love that channel. The guy who asked people how they, Hard Knocks, School of Hard Knocks. He asked people how they became millionaires and billionaires. And Jordan said, money, it's like alcohol. It makes people more of who they naturally are. And I think with AI, we might see the same thing. Like, we're already seeing this writing on the wall, this very kind of tribalism, animalistic nature. So will AI make us more of that, of bring out the savagery? Or will we cut the shit and really be the bridge to hold all of this together? I mean, for the sake not only of ourselves, I know everyone is selfish and narcissistic, but for our kids and for the future and the generations. Because shit, if it comes down to, AI versus us, we best be a team. We best get our shit together. Like, we have enough fish to fry, and we better set our priorities straight. And I'm not saying it has to be like kumbaya and braid each other's hair, but maybe we get our priorities and our shit sorted out first. And there could be some faith in that. So something to think about on your weekend. I can't wait to hear from you guys as usual, and I will see you all on Monday. Have a good weekend. Chris, how was your pee break?
My pee break.
They might flash you on TikTok.
Random baby.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Quite an intro.
Let's address the elephant in the room. That's not the elephant in the room. There's no elephant. Nobody cares.
I too am a thought criminal.
Good. Well, I like you already.
Does this look like a girl who's joking around?
No.
Around?
But how much do you actually understand money? Especially the new wave.
Beauty or intelligence? When you unleash both, it is men's kryptonite.